Do something sad and country.
Oh, I've got a bunch of them. I got some new ones on that I just rediscovered, Okay. They say absence only makes the heart grow fonder. Well, when I'm absent, your heart seems to wander. Just how far's the only question left to ponder, and whether I should bother coming home at all. Well, you know I make my living on the road. Well, I know all too often you're alone. I try to make it up to you when I come home. It's just the nature of the business that I'm in. Well, I used to come home just to find you waiting. Half the joy was in anticipating. Now I just find a meal refrigerating, 'cause you're somewhere with friends out on the town. They say absence only makes the heart grow fonder. Well, when I'm absent, your heart seems to wander. Just how far's the only question left to ponder, whether I should bother coming home at all.
Welcome to T-Bone's Best of Roanoke Show. Music, comedy, and conversation featuring HB, the Honey Badger.
Honey Badger don't care.
Now, on with the show.
This is Radio Free Roanoke, and this is episode 187. HB, T-Bone's Best of Roanoke Show. HB, we have two of Roanoke's gifted, I'll say most gifted, Al, and because you play a lot of instruments, two of Roanoke's most gifted and most giving musicians, Bill Hudson, Al Coffey. Fellas, it's been about 4 years since we last spoke to you. What have you been up to?
Has it been that long?
It's been that long.
They had this pandemic thing that kind of got away for a while.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
You know, we're happy to be here, and we're happy to support community radio.
Good
Well,
deal.
that's
where
what-
it's not like the TV.
Yes.
That's right. Well, that's what Radio Free Roanoke's all about. Well, listen, we've kept up with you from afar, but I know there's a Toshi's Garden CD that's out there. Let's talk about that first, and then I want to get into this musical instrument program you guys have been doing for coming up on 20 years.
20 years come October.
Yeah. So that's a wonderful feel-good story there. But let's start with Toshi's Garden. Tell us a little bit about that, the concept, because I've got one of your previous CDs here.
That's a combination of maybe 8 years of recording and some of Roanoke's best. And I do believe this, that Roanoke has world-class music right here. This is a vortex, I think.
We will agree with you on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because, I've been here, Al's basically from here, but I've been here about 25 years, but I'm constantly meeting somebody that I go, where are you from? And they go, Roanoke. But they don't go out and play, and I'm just amazed at their abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
It's very common.
And Toshi's Garden, let's start with the title. Now, I think I know who Toshi is, but it's not a Japanese rock band or a figure from Pokemon, is it, Toshi?
Hardly.
Hardly, Al?
Hardly.
All right,
No.
fill us in, brother.
That's Pete Seeger's wife, who fed us all. I think the reason why everybody lives and Toshi's daughter, Tina, is really good health, and she's about my age. I think it was her food, yeah. So anyway, that's the reason why I call it Toshi's Garden. It's a metaphor, obviously, and they planted a lot of seeds.
Many years ago. Well, the songs that I've been listening to the CD, lots of good songs. Tell us, first of all, who helped you produce that? Because you guys don't have your own studio, do you?
It's recorded at several different places. What you're hearing on this particular CD, Flat 5, Fainting Goat, and a place called The Space, which is a lot of the good tracks from this one are at The Space, which is right by the railroad track. So
we
the rule
know that
was,
place, yeah.
if the train's coming by, we can't record. We got to wait for the train.
Well, what if it was like Long Train Running song or something? You could
Sometimes they get
you could incorporate that sound.
Well, when we have a big production like with American Dream, I like to make food, and have food so everybody gets fed. So on the cut with Wheels Disappearing, Denise Smith, this area has the real deal with Southern Black gospel music. We're extremely gracious to Denise Smith. She did a great job on that.
So she appears on the American Dream cut?
She's on Wheels Disappearing.
Wheels Disappearing.
Yeah, it's the Pink Floyd Primal Scream. And she
Okay.
did it beautiful.
Oh, wow. Great.
She got it right away.
Yeah.
And of course with those folks, it's always one take and they look at me and they go, is that good enough? And the engineer and I are going, wow.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
Where did you record Wheels Disappearing? Was that locally?
Yes, that was at a place called Marshall Hicks.
Oh, that Marshall.
And his band, yeah.
Yeah, we know Marshall from Virginia.
Yeah,
Lake. Good guy.
He helped me actually produce it, and the sound of his final mix is just beautiful. Vladimir from J-Stop is on that, and I think we did 8 tracks, something like that, with Vladimir.
Okay.
From Cuba.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so it's not like you're riding one horse, you have 4 of them and hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Vladimir.
Yeah.
So he really made that cut.
I saw the band that he's in, or he leads at Grandin Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they very impressive.
Very generous man.
Yeah. So the song Patriot Song, that's another song I like. Tell us a little bit about that.
The words were written by someone else, John, and I put music to it. But, on film sets, you're always waiting. It's most of the time for the sun or the lighting or whatever. But you're waiting. So I hung out with this guy. I didn't know he was a producer.
Okay.
So I was like, dingo. I didn't have a song at the time. But I said, I got a song.
Yeah.
So that night, John and I got together and he had these words. So I put music to it, which is a real rowdy tune. The tavern scene is sea shanty people. I did a festival at Asbury Park, and I brought sea shanty people in a studio and created a tavern scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it could have worked. My thanks to Peter Afterman, who now works with the Rolling Stones, I think, catalog. He does that stuff, but he does music for film. I think it could have worked. But John Williams got on board, and that score was written extremely quickly, and his name was on the film.
So this is the John Williams.
He was on a bigger name.
So Peter calls me, and he goes, no, because it could have worked, could have worked.
But this was for a movie.
I wouldn't sing it. I'd have an Irish Gaelic Pogues kind of character sing it.
Oh, okay.
Real rowdy.
Oh, yeah.
And it would work on the credits. But Peter called me back and said, no ands, ifs, or buts, and I appreciate the phone call, Peter. So whenever he changes his office, he says, Bill, I want to let you know, da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Well, Patriot's song is a really jumpy song, and it starts off with the crowd there at Asbury Park. And
Right,
neat.
the sea shanty.
Far away, I heard the call. The British march, we stand or fall. Riflemen, infantry, if you can come, then come with me.
They're fun. You don't have to be a professional. Sit around, drink some rum in a circle, and Al, did you ever come up to those festivals?
Well, I did the one there when they were doing a tribute to Pete's songs.
Yeah.
When they had the one
Pete
lady,
Seeger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one lady that was left from the Weavers was there, kind of thing like that. And it was kind of neat. They were running everything off of solar power. Had 3 different stages running.
Oh yeah, that was
solar power.
Asbury.
Is
Park.
that right? No.
I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool. But,
Yeah, Bruce showed up one time.
No way.
And because I was like, Helen ran that festival, and some guy was setting up like 20 guitars, and I was just playing, looking at this between songs, and going, well, that's kind of weird, And then Bruce shows up, and suddenly all these people come out of the woodwork. I know his bass player, Gary.
Gary W. Talent.
Yeah. Because I wanted to pitch a song, Crossing That River, to him.
Oh, wow. HB
was
and I
a long
saw another Asbury Park character, Southside Johnny, up at the Harvester.
Oh, cool.
2 or 3 years ago. Okay, so Wheels Disappearing. All the songs that'll be on our YouTube video are going to be from the CD. How many tracks are on the CD?
There's actually 2 of them, 1 in 7, that is not playable because of my mess up. I'm not a technical person. But there's 13 tracks, including the one, believe it or not, I was a young kid. I wrote a song called Wounded Knee.
Yeah.
And this is back in the early 70s, and Pete heard it because we used to live in a cabin. It was just pretty basic. So if there's a guitar on the wall, it's comfortable just to grab it. So I started playing it, and Pete wakes up. He starts writing. He says, "Oh wow!" So that got in Broadside magazine in the early '70s. So I've never released it. So that's one version of it.
Okay, yeah, very nice. And then Al, the last time we checked in with you, you were, I think, proficient at 12 instruments. You're probably up to 77 now.
No, I haven't actually added much of anything new. There are variations on a theme, but that's about it. Like, if you want to call tenor sax and alto sax different instruments, or recorder and flute different, but around a dozen that I can at least do something with.
I listened to our last interview we did with you guys 4 years ago, and I think you're playing the fiddle.
I was playing some fiddle and probably some harmonica and guitar.
Yes, you were.
How old is that fiddle?
Well, fiddle is a little over 200 years old now.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Made in 1821.
1821.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you
Didn't
still,
bring that one today, unfortunately, but yeah.
but you still carry that around and play with it sometimes?
Yeah, that's my working fiddle.
That is,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Because it plays well and it sounds good. I mean, it's no famous maker, but
It's not. Okay.
it plays well and it sounds good.
Yeah. Right.
Did you pick that up at a yard sale or what?
Actually, a fellow I worked with had gone out on his day off. I was working 7 days a week at the time, filling in his spot on his day off. He came in and he'd been around to a batch of flea markets and yard sales and such like that. He said, "Well, you know more about these things than I do. You see what you think of this?" He had a couple of fiddles there, and I tried them both out, and I really liked this one. I said, "Yeah, this one's really nice." He says, "Well, I'll tell you what, I could sell it to you.
Yeah.
And he, I figured, like, I think it was like $260 or so in 1977.
Really?
And I've been playing it
It
ever since.
wasn't 1812 or something?
When I'm not that old
Not
yet.
that old, yeah.
No?
I'm getting up there, but I wasn't quite around when it was new.
Well, one of the other things you guys have been so gracious with your time and your talent is where you collect instruments, musical instruments that are no longer used or
Right.
people want to donate them,
Yes.
and you recycle them. in a
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
And you
We're
give them
just
back to maybe schools or individuals or
Yeah.
kids. Tell us a little bit about that because you're coming up on a big anniversary.
Well, we always figure we're getting a little older, kind of thing like that, and music's got to continue.
Right?
And we'll do it as long as we can, but we won't be able to do it forever. So we're trying to, play on words here. So play it forward.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, take it and move it on to the
I
next
think we
generation.
should call the tour that.
Yeah.
Play it forward. That's
forward
pretty
to it.
good, yeah.
Well, the idea there is just if you have something sitting in a closet or in the attic or the garage, wherever, if it's not being played, it's a musical instrument. It should be played.
Yeah.
That's what they're made for.
Yes.
So
you're
let's
correct.
find new homes for them. And
I mean, it was very
Yeah.
organic how this got started, Tim, because the guy that invented the paint program, Guy Noor, financed 13 trips down there. But how it got started was a simple phone call. And I said, wouldn't it be great? Because it was like 9/11. You know, everybody just
Right
wanted to
after
go down and
Katrina.
help.
Yeah.
To Katrina.
now,
And
right after
I
Katrina.
thought, I think Woody and Pete did this a lot.
Yeah.
Was go somewhere where they need music. It's real bad. It's it's just really and bring some
So-
hope to people. And that was our mission, 24/7 for 7 days on the ground.
And that was in
Which-
05, wasn't it? Was that 04,
No,
05?
it was 2005. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We went
August.
in October of 2005, about
Yeah,
5
no
weeks
worries.
after Katrina.
Okay, yeah.
Rita and Katrina. The fire chief said between Rita and Katrina there were 88 twisters. So the grid was wiped out. So
Yeah, it
we're
was
really down to
Really
basics.
It was always interesting to
Food,
go along,
water, shelter.
see trees that you go up this far and they're bent over like that and
Just for,
gone.
Yeah, the tornadoes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So the basics were real important, and
Yeah.
anytime you can bring music and help.
Yeah,
get people's
and so
mind
we
off
were
the
out in the
trouble.
field, for 7 days, and when the fire chief found out what we were doing, he said, "You're staying here." So the firehouse, we ate real good.
Oh, I bet y'all did. You guys can cook
with
too.
Louisiana cooking.
Oh.
But that was our base of operation. You had your internet, and then we'd go out in the field.
And you would play unplugged out there, wouldn't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it was at food camps. I want to really give a shout out to the Rainbow people. They were feeding 1,500 people a day in a geodesic dome, and we're Charlotte.
I think that was Chalmette.
Charlotte, yeah.
We went down to Buras on later trips, kind of thing like that.
Yeah, that was 80 miles. You want to tell that?
About 70
80 miles
about
south of
75,
New
80
Orleans.
miles, yeah.
The end of the line.
Yeah, you went a little further and you were in the Gulf.
Yeah.
You couldn't go any further, but there's a school there.
Well, there were
You want to tell that?
Well, there were numerous people down there. Yeah, but there was a particular elementary school, the Boothville Venice Elementary.
They didn't have a music program.
They didn't have a music program. We went
Right.
down near Christmas, I think, on one trip, maybe our second or third trip down.
Mm-hmm.
And tickled me, there's a lady named Vanessa Williams.
Oh,
Right, that was
the
a
actress.
That's what she's doing now.
Yeah.
Not the actress, but
Hey,
Yeah,
everybody's
very
got to
attractive.
work. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Everybody's got to make a living.
Yeah. Very nice
That
lady
was her
who was
name,
the principal of the school, and they were saying, well, kind of wish we had some kind of even an electronic keyboard or something for a Christmas program. We had just had 3 keyboards donated by a guy in Roanoke. We had them in the trunk of the car.
Oh, how great.
So we
You
were
said,
able to get that up.
And we gave them a real piano.
Yeah,
We
the next
moved a
trip we-
real piano, tuned
upright?
it.
Was it an upright?
They now have a music program.
Oh, it was.
Just spin it.
Okay, I got you.
And then the kids did this big picture they gave to us, which was very emotional, that said, thank you.
Oh,
They had all the kids
Yeah.
stand out on the lawn with the signs spelling out thank you, and had all the kids sign the picture
Yeah.
around it. You
Oh,
know.
how cool.
And we don't get in the way of the teachers when we do music programs. We give the instruments and back away. But sometimes they ask us to do a concert, and we did.
Yeah.
And those kids, these are grade school kids of survivors of Katrina. Each and every one of those kids came up to us to ask for our autograph. Not because we're famous, but out of respect.
Oh, how cool.
Those were grade school kids.
Wow.
And, things like that. That we have so many of those kind of stories.
Oh, that's the kind of thing. I really remember one of the kids at Boyette. We had taken a batch of stringed instruments and band instruments down. And I remember one little boy was left-handed. He couldn't wait he just almost tore open the case on a violin and had that thing out, playing it upside down in seconds. He was just, could not wait
Couldn't
to
wait
get his
to
hands-
play.
make some music.
How cool.
Yeah.
And then later on, when we went back another time, they wanted to play for us since we had played for them.
Oh.
We wanted to show what,
So we were basically camping out. And the funny story is we went back to our base camp, which there was a kitchen, a shower, and people camping out on this dentist land. He was a hippie with a paycheck, he called himself. That base camp, there was a new sign that said, "Beware of alligator," because this is in the swamp.
Oh, okay,
this
yeah.
was on a
And
Liberty
Al's face was like, and this guy that kind of kept an eye on everybody's stuff when people muck houses during the day. We said, "Where's the alligator?" And he would like point. Well, it's I don't know where it
out
is.
there.
It's out there.
And Al's face was.
Oh, what tickled me
That
too
was funny.
I've still got the jar.
Swear to God.
There had been a batch of pickled peppers or whatever that somebody had. The jar was still intact.
Yeah.
It set it on a stump. A year and a half later, it was still there. Finally, somebody knocked over. Said, "Well, now we got."
What was
took it
that
empty.
base camp
It was
called?
Camp Liberty
Camp
because
Liberty.
it's Liberty Bayou.
Liberty Bayou. We worked with Gordon Solenberg. He's building a.
That's what I wanted.
He's
to
a
give
great
shout out
guy
to.
making a community garden that's in the middle of a bad section of Detroit.
Yeah.
And we work with many people like that. But if there were just 6 Gordons, he's on Facebook, Gordon Solenberg.
Okay.
He
Good idea.
built probably 3 or 4 base camps. Because
Really?
the grid was down. The first aid's not. You're on your own.
Yeah.
And
He's a former medic, and
he's a medic, which
Oh,
was
okay.
handy.
Stuff,
Navy
yeah.
medic. Good guy. Anyway,
Good guy. So, but
I'm sorry,
No,
Tom.
no, that's good. So let's say this, Al and Bill.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a piano that it was in my family, but it had only like 78 keys instead of 88 keys, is that something?
Well, unfortunately, for acoustic pianos, the pianos that are furniture, we don't have the storage space for something like. We just
Yeah.
can't afford
That's
it.
big, yeah.
Electronic pianos, keyboards and stuff.
Sure.
Easy, you can tear them up on side and stack them back. But you have to have a lot of room for storage for actual.
So what if I had a
Yeah.
guitar with a couple of strings missing that's just gathering dust, or
Strings we can replace.
Ideal.
I'm actually heading to New York maybe this weekend, depending on what the storm is, to New York to a generous man named Jack, who's got a pile of instruments for me.
Oh.
I think he
So-
said like 4 guitars, flute, and a few other odds and ends.
Yeah,
as well,
there's a
so.
bunch. Our network, it's funny with the internet, and it's word of mouth or,
Right.
and this, I've never met this man, but he has a pile of instruments. So I'll go 500 miles for the kids.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
I'm
we
going
also-
the wrong direction.
Well, the good news there is too that when you meet with him, there's also hopefully can go by. There's a store called Radovich and Dean Music in Carmel, New York, which won't be all that
Yeah,
far.
we have music
that
stores that support
They have
us.
been
Oh,
very good at getting horns. Some of them need a little bit of repair,
Right.
but
Dave's an
usually
angel.
either if we can afford to fix them, or
Right.
some things I've learned to do myself. So
Right.
I've gotten a few trumpets that people had given up on and gotten back into working order, and then, like I say, with a lot of things, like you're talking about with strings, now my secondary guitar, at this point, was actually a donation at one time that the top was, the glue was coming loose and whatever like that, and I took that, got out the glue and the clamps and stuff, and
He likes
fixed
to
that,
fiddle
and
with
it felt like playing this one. So I took what had been my second guitar and just gave that to, donated that one. Yes, yeah.
So it's really very serendipitous what we do, you know. But we know we can survive with about 5 people out in the field. We can do that and do the Bob Hope radio live, whatever we're throwing together at the time. And we also recycle the instruments.
All right, and the last thing on the instruments, if locally people say, hey, you know what, I do have something I'll never play, well, how do they get in touch with you?
They can get a hold of me at Liberty No. 1 Street at gmail.com. Or go to our Facebook page, contact us that way.
And the Facebook page will be listed as
The Feel Good Tour.
The Feel
The
Good
Feel
Tour.
Good Tour.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was Guy's idea. I figured it might get mixed up with other things, but that was his idea. So he was footing the bill, and we always want to thank Mr. Guy Noor for doing this. And now he says, 20 years coming up, we got to go back to Louisiana, but we're starting in Boston. I was like, what?
Wow. Start in Boston, work your way down.
Yeah.
All right. That'd be great, 20 years. Yeah. Well, as we get ready to wind it down here, let's go back to Toshi's Garden.
Okay.
I really liked what I heard. I was telling you, I think last night, that some of those songs, they sound to me like it's kind of a mood song where you could hear that as a soundtrack to a series you're watching on TV.
Oh, really?
Something on Netflix or something.
Really?
But yeah, it would be in the background.
Well, that's Joe's job out in Hollywood. He pitches songs. This friend of mine, that's his business,
really?
And he has a good track record, but he pitches the film.
And then we're going to have you
Nice
guys
guy.
play us a couple of songs as we get out of here. But is there anything else I've left out, or anything else you want to bring up or highlight?
I think the emphasis of what we're going to be talking for about the next 6 months when we do our live feed, which we do on our Facebook page every 2 weeks, is to play it forward, because really it's not earth-shattering what Al and I do. It's very simple. All you need is storage and a couple of friends that believe the school system for some reason is cutting back. And we're trying to do our best, put fingers in the dike. Hungry for Music, and Jeff Campbell is doing it in a much larger scale than we are, but he's doing the same thing. So
and the thing is, it doesn't have to be large scale. I mean,
it does.
Right.
You're more, like I said, Bill says, 1-to-1.
Yeah.
So anyone basically can do what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, it does help if you have some computer skills so people can get in touch with you. If you have some place to store a few things, kind of thing. Ours has grown a little bit over the years, so we had to have a little more space, but still, it doesn't take a huge amount of space to store. Yeah, if somebody gets a few guitars or a few fiddles or a couple of band instruments and stuff, if you have your basement has a utility room that isn't being used for anything else, and the willingness and the perseverance to make the contacts and go out and find where they need to go and then get them there.
Get them there. Yeah.
It's
That's it.
It's not rocket science. Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful what you two are doing. So Toshi's Garden, it's out there now, and we're going to push it on Radio Free Roanoke so you can hear it locally. Yeah. And then the Play It Forward tour, best of luck on that,
that's a
right?
great name. That's his idea.
Yeah.
That kind of says it right there.
Yeah, that's good.
And Bill, I'll say still picking Bill, right? And Al, the Swiss musical instrument. Swiss Army knife of music.
There you go. Yeah.
So well done, gentlemen. Thank
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it, guys.
You got it, brother.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Tim.
Yes, man.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
As we walk through this valley, as we climb up every hill, as we take that bold step step forward as we look to that distant shore. In these times, we go so much faster, and fear is in the air. Borders are written on t-shirts and stickers, more lines than I care to think, but it's what we have in common. Yes, it is. Yes, that is our sacred plea.